This is the Lancer Locker Show on KYNT. Now, let's talk some Mount Marty University athletics with the coaches, as well as your host and the voice of Mount Marty University athletics, Tel Tanner.
We're going to talk with the big man on campus today, Andy Bernatow, the athletic director for the Mount Marty Lancers. My name is Tel Tanner. This is the Lancer Locker on KYNT. It's 102.1 FM, AM 1450. I spoke with Andy Bernatow a little earlier today. We went through every single sport at Mount Marty. We ran through the seasons. We talked about the coaches, the athletes, and the future for each program. It is a big show today, I tell you what, and that is why I got to get in and out really quick, because that conversation took a long time, which means I'm way over time, so I got to make this quick. We're going to go through men's and women's basketball real fast, and then we're going to take a break, go straight into that, as well as Curt Dykstra, who is the general manager of our station here, as well as the president of the Lancer Club, also joining us in our first segment with Coach Bernatow to talk about what the Lancer Club does for Mount Marty. First things first, we'll go through the basketball schedule of the last couple of days. Both teams took on Dort on Saturday. Both teams unfortunately did take losses, but they were fun games. The women's team played the number one undefeated reigning national champs in Dort University. 103-77 was the final, but that game was close. The Lancers either led or were right on them in every single statistical category except three-pointers. Dort just had a historic night shooting. They made 20 three-pointers in the game, but the Lancers had less turnovers. They were right at the same rebound margin. I think they had more offensive rebounds. They were passing the ball very well. It was an impressive game for the Lancers, and certainly encouraging for a team that is now 0-6 in conference. They've got Morningside on Saturday. The men's team also played Dort. Dort was able to get some threes up as well. They ran in transition well. They did take the loss there. Lancer men have Morningside on Saturday. We'll be covering that ball game at 2 p.m. Saturday, men's, women's doubleheader. With that, I'm going to go ahead and take a break right now. We'll thank a few of our sponsors here on the Lancer Locker, and we're going to come right back with Curt Dykstra and Andy Bernatow, the president of the Lancer Club, the athletic director of the Mount Marty Lancers, and my two bosses. Man, I was nervous in that booth. Let's go ahead and take a break, come back with the two of them, and then we'll run through all the sports with Coach Bernatow to finish the show. This is KYNT.
Attention homeowners, if you've been on the fence about selling, I'd love the opportunity to sit and visit with you. With low inventory, now would be a good time to call me, Deb Speck at Vision Real Estate. I'll provide you with a free market analysis and a no-pressure approach. Call me at 605-664-5555 to find out if now is the right time to make a move.
Beef, pork, seafood, poultry, and more. All at the Meat Lodge in Yankton. Get top quality meats at great prices. They have specialty items like lamb, brisket, mahi-mahi, crab legs, and lobster. They even have non-meat options like Dimmick cheese, pickled items, seasonings, and sauces. For your convenience, you can call and order curbside pickup or order online at meatlodge.com. The Meat Lodge in Yankton, on the way to the lake on Highway 52.
This is Jenny from Slumberland Furniture in Yankton. Looking for a refresh in your home? Want to change up your space? Take advantage of our free interior design service. We can help reimagine your room using new pieces that will work with what you currently have. At Slumberland, you'll find the best brand name furniture and quality mattresses with the best customer service possible. See us at 2401 Broadway in Yankton.
Did you know Sherco offers more than egg tarps? As an industry leader in construction, waste, and flatbed tarping systems, Sherco offers manual and electric tarp systems for not only grain trailers and grain carts, but also side dumps, end dumps, belly dumps, roll-offs, flatbeds, and more. To learn more, give us a call at 1-800-474-8756 or find us at Sherco.com. Demand the best, demand Sherco.
Everyone loves something different about our buffet, which is good because buffet has something for everyone. This is Annie from Yankton Pizza Ranch. Come in and fill your plate with good food that makes you feel good inside. Don't see your favorite pizza on the buffet? Request it using Buffet Your Way. We'll make it, bake it, and give you the very first slice. Grab the country's best chicken paired with tasty sides and finish off with sweet cactus bread at Yankton Pizza Ranch.
A big thank you from Mount Marty University to one of Yankton's greatest employers and friend of the community, Aztec. They're very proud to support the Mount Marty Lancers. The vision at Aztec is to build industry-changing solutions that create life-changing opportunities. And you can build a career with the group that's built to connect from rock to road. Click careers at aztecindustries.com. Best wishes, Mount Marty, from your friends at Aztec.
All right, back here on the Lancer Locker on KYNT. My name is Del Tanner. Now here with a couple of very important people in the Yankton community. I'll tell you what, Curt Dykstra, the general manager here at Riverfront Broadcasting, and Andy Bernatow, the athletic director.
I think you're half right.
Half right.
We got Andy.
We got Andy Bernatow as well, the athletic director at Mount Marty University. Thanks to both of you for coming into the studio today. We wanted to talk a little bit about Lancer athletics, and now I'm sitting here with my two bosses, so I am on best behavior today, and this is going to go amazingly, I hope. First things first, let's start it off talking Christmas, because we're in that time of year. It's finals week for the kids, and we're getting up our decorations all around here. I need to know, first of all, have you guys decorated your houses?
Yeah.
The inside, the tree is up. We haven't done the lights yet this year. I don't know if we're going to get to them.
This is a two-faced question. Yes, the house is decorated, but you asked, did I decorate it?
Nah.
No.
All props.
It is decorated, but I didn't do it.
All props to Julia.
No, I've been told to stay off ladders, which I didn't listen to, but I had other people, the boys decorated the outside, and my wife did the inside, and I watched football.
There you go. That's a good way to do it. I just got my tree up last night. I tell you what, we did a white tree this year with blue decorations, and I think that looks amazing.
Gee, you should have a little gold on there.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's a little bit.
I would like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little MMU on there. Come on, man.
With that, let's turn to the Lancers. Curt, you are not only the GM here at Riverfront, you're the president of the Lancer Club as well. Sitting here with the athletic director. I know you guys have a meeting today, and then you're going to kind of roll through some future plans and everything going on. First up, can you tell me what the Lancer Club is, what it kind of does, and how you guys work together?
Well, it started back in, I got my little sheet here, but it started back in 1971, and the goal of the group is to enhance the quality of the athletic programs and the student athlete experience at Mount Marty. We are a group that raise funds, and that's basically what we do. I'm not an employee of Mount Marty. We have a number of people on the board that aren't as well, and our role is to facilitate and share ideas and help generate funds for the athletic department, and Andy and his group, they figure out where it goes. In the past we do a lot. Our scholarships is our number one, and then over the years we've kind of metamorphosed into other things as well as needed, from equipment to uniforms to food. I mean, there's quite a few needs for the athletic departments, and your programs have really grown over the years. You're more kids, adding football and all that stuff. So the needs and challenges are bigger than they've ever been. And when I first started, I've been on it, I'm about 10 years now, I guess, 12 years. And so there's always a need, and it continues to grow. And our money that we raise goes towards helping solve some of those problems that are needed at the athletic departments.
I wanted to ask about the addition of football. We'll turn over to Coach Bernatow now. Can I still call you Coach Bernatow? I feel like I'm going to do that for the rest of my life.
That's fine. I can tell you I've been called worse.
Well, when it comes to football, I wanted to ask, when it comes to adding that program over the last 4 years now, there's 100 new athletes on campus with a bunch of coaches. It costs a lot of money to put together a football program, to travel everybody, to feed everybody, to put jerseys on everybody, the pads, all of it. What has that been like money-wise that you've seen over the last 4 years with the university, the addition of football?
Yeah, it creates, obviously, having this year the count was 127. So there's obviously an inflow. We're a small college, so we don't, no one's on a full ride in terms of cost of attendance at Mount Marty. That's a GPAC rule that we can't go above tuition. So we do have inflow, but there's a heavy outflow. I mean, just to equip a football player in terms of what they need, we know that cost is just over $2,000 per player. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. In terms of how the Lancer Club would funnel into that, they help out with meals. They have helped out with uniforms. But they do that for all the teams. So football is just one of the teams that we get to provide for. And, the big thing that we did is we helped out at Crane Youngworth this year in terms of our football and soccer programs in the Yankton School District and getting up a new video board and scoreboard. So that was a pretty neat project of being able to come together, create a synergy, which the school district and Mount Marty both wins.
One of the other things you kind of alluded that the Lancer Club helps with is meals and feeding some student athletes, especially in these upcoming month that we're going to see, where finals week is done. A lot of these kids go home for the holidays, but for the ones that stay, the cafeteria is closed, and you still got to find a way to feed them. Does the Lancer Club help out with that a little?
Yes, they do, and this is something that's really, really evolved. It started off with just like a meal here and there, and then it evolved to over the breaks. We started helping the basketball teams, but then we realized there's just more kids here, and if you're going to help a few, why not help them all? So we'll be providing meals over the entire break from starting Thursday night until January 5th lunch. I mean, every day 2 to 3 meals. So
you do a fair share of the cooking too, don't you?
Yeah, and we got a lot of good people in Yankton that help us out. And Jason and Cindy, Jason Nelson, who's the assistant athletic director, and Cindy Solar, who's our senior women's leader and administrator of athletics and assistant. She's the glue, but they help me out with this. And then obviously my wife's on the hook to help out. And as I've said before, I like to cook, but I'm really bad at cleaning. So.
Well, you're a good cook, so that makes up for it.
When it's mass production of food, when some roasters and crock pots got to get involved, and they came out with a new roaster liner that's aluminum in nature, like aluminum foil. And I told my wife, hey, this is going to save our marriage. And she kind of laughed at that.
Well, I'll tell you what, growing up, my mother always had a rule of whoever cooks dinner does not have to clean up afterwards. So she'd always cook, and then I'd have to clean it. So you can employ that with the athletes maybe. They get to eat, but in exchange, they help clean up.
Well, they do, in terms of the...
Oh, there they go.
Yeah, in terms of the room that we eat in, they do a good job of helping with setup and cleanup. Normally when food's on the way and you're hungry, somewhere along the line, you're definitely going to be a resource to help in regards to that.
Oh, absolutely. So let's learn a little bit more about the members of the Lancer Club. Curt, you're obviously the president of the Lancer Club, but who else is involved here?
All right, we have a number of people. Some are Mount Marty employees, past employees, and some are maybe kids. I guess kids are all kids to me. Former athletes or students of Mount Marty, and then some, just some average business people, I guess, that we've recruited. Bob Tarazinski, Chuck Iverson, Cindy Solar from Mount Marty right now, Alex Nealon Harris.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, just a recent induction. Jason Nelson, another Hall of Famer. Roger Renner, Jeff Erickson, Hall of Famer in our book here on KYNT. Shannon Vierick, Abby Kaiser, former Lancer basketball great Jeff Wolfgram.
He could shoot it.
A lot of them play.
His mom said he couldn't play defense, but I guess he could shoot well. That's just what his mom told me. Kyle Tackey, Randy Lean, Jessica Gaitkin, Kate Schramm, and myself and Andy.
That's a good group of people. It really seems like you've got a good group here.
Yeah, we have it's an easy group to be involved with. We don't sell raffle tickets and things like that. We just organize. It's a fun group to be involved with because we're shaping and helping something we firmly believe in, and that's the Mount Marty.
All right, well, that's kind of a look at what the Lancer Club is and does. I know you guys have your meeting just a little while after this talk here. And finally, can you just give me a preview of what that meeting's going to look like?
Well, we start, we'll just kind of review the year, where we're at with memberships, and probably start planning for next year already.
Yeah.
We'll start, we send out our flyer or our membership guide, probably early summer. So it takes a while to produce, and we look at it and evaluate it and decide, okay, we should do this or add this or do that, and kind of change it and tweak it every year a little bit, try to be accommodating to everybody and try to get as many people to be a part of the group as we possibly can. And so that'll be probably our big thing. Today's meeting is kind of taking a look at that and starting that process, because it takes a while to, the girls really do, well, it's mainly the girls that do this, and they do a really super job on them. I mean, it would look horrible if Andy and I did it, and they really do a nice job and lay it out well, and QR codes and all that kind of fun stuff. And so we'll start working on that this year and kind of review. We usually ask for updates on what the money has gone to for this year. We don't tell the school where the funds should go, but we like to, just for our sake, the group's sake, to know what the funds are being used for and where they're going to, and Andy gives us updates on that. So,
well, Curt, thank you very much for your time coming in with us today. We're going to come back in the Lancer Locker with more from Andy Bernatow in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to the Lancer Locker on KYNT.
Ben is in a sticky situation.
I got so excited for my fresh-baked Runza cinnamon rolls that I forgot to grab a napkin.
Now you got cinnamon roll fingers, and they're so ooey.
And gooey. I can't grab a spoon to dig into my delicious homemade chili.
Maybe you should call for help?
Oh, I'll call my mom. Oh, I've ruined my phone.
Worth it, though. Come get Runza's homemade chili, fresh-baked cinnamon rolls, and a napkin today. Because Runza makes it all better.
Runza on Broadway by Menards in Yankton.
Quit hitting the snooze button on your new career. Wake up to recently increased wages, day one benefits, and an employer who puts you first. Grind through the workday in your own specialty. Assembler, machine operator, material handler, or line operation tech. Don't mind working nights? Enjoy pay differential of $2.35. Choose your shift and enjoy day one benefits. This isn't just a job, it's your future. Join us today. Find more information and apply now at parker.com.
Parker, engineering your success.
The Dakota Theater in Yankton is always in need of volunteers. There's something for everyone, such as being involved with shows on or off stage, selling concessions, greeting, ushering, cleaning before and after, cleaning the bathrooms, organizing, helping with the lights, the sound, the costumes, decorating, and more. The Dakota Theater in Yankton is so grateful for every volunteer. Theaters for everyone. For more information, go to dakotatheater.org or call 665-4711.
Hey, son, can you hand me that vice grip? As any farmer or rancher knows, having the right tools in the toolbox is important. That goes for your ag lending as well. If you're considering expansion, restructuring debt, or purchasing equipment, call Dakota Mac. We have a toolbox full of lending solutions to help you with your ag financing needs.
Hi, it's Jeff Wolfgram from Dakota Mac. Call us at 800-682-4578 to learn how Dakota Mac products can work for you.
Thanksgiving is when families come together to create memories, share stories, and enjoy the best of the season. This year, bring something bold to the table. Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. Its rich, complex flavors, aged to perfection, make it the perfect complement to your Thanksgiving feast. Whether you're raising a glass to the past or savoring the moment, this is the stout for every toast and every memory. Goose Island Bourbon County Stout, crafted for family, friends, and unforgettable gatherings.
All right, back here on the Lancer Locker on a KYNT. Thank you to Curt Dykstra for coming in and talking with us. Now let's give it solo to Andy Bernatow. Coach Bernatow, the athletic director at Mount Marty University. Man, you've been here a long time. Actually, how long have you been in Yankton?
Since the fall of 1995. I came up here to go to school and play baseball for Coach Bob Tereshinski, and I've never left. I even ended up spending all of my summers here besides one when I was a student. And then from there I taught at Gable-Vollen, and then from there I came back to Mount Marty.
We'll talk about baseball a little bit here toward the end of the show as we get into spring. But that's kind of cool that you had Tereshinski who coached you, and then you got the job, and then now Tycro. That's just a 1, 2, 3 for very good connections.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's always pretty much been house at Mount Marty. There was Kelly Heller was 5 years in between, but I helped out Kelly for a semester, and Jason helped him out for a year or two, and then we did camps together, and then Kelly elected to move on to Williston State. But yeah, a nice lineage there, and it's nice that it's been all in house. You're talking, we're almost barking at 40 years of Mount Marty baseball, so pretty neat.
That's incredible. Well, let's talk about fall sports for a moment then. We'll start it off with the football program. Just an incredible season. They're only in year 4 of existence, and they just had a winning record. Like, you talk about teams not only in the NAIA but in the GPAC, how long it takes them to get where the Lancers got in 4 years. We're talking 10 plus years for a lot of these schools. This is impressive what they did.
Yeah, very impressive. You know, I'm being a baseball guy at heart, you know, very analytical on things, or I like numbers at times. And so I do want to point out some things that are really impressive of what's going on there. And it's hats off to the student athletes in the program and that coaching staff. They're phenomenal. John Micheletti does a tremendous job. And he's put together a staff that works hard, and he leads by example. But, you know, the 6 wins this year, and on top of the 6 wins, we did have the JV program at 4-1. And if that's something that we can maintain and establish, it's really going to help with development, retention, and stability. But the 6 wins this year, and I'm more here to talk about how great these kids are and the coaching staff. So I'm not going to necessarily use other schools' names, but we do have a school down the road that's in our conference, and it took them 16 years to have a winning season. And then we have another school, same thing in our conference, that started football, and they're their most recent startup besides us. And they played one JV year, and it took them to their 11th season, and now they're a juggernaut that's usually in the top 25. Yeah. So kind of gives you an idea of what's going on there. A few other things that we really need to look at in regards to, because a lot of it is creating stability. And one thing is, what are they doing in the classroom? So what kind of student athlete are you bringing in when they get there? What's going on in the classroom? Because you don't want to have academic casualties in regards to retention loss. And last year, in year 3, they had a 3.14 team GPA, which is great. That was 8th in the nation for NAIA football. So you can't have retention without development, and you can't have development without retention. And I'm just turning 2 words around there, but there's 2 separate things that I'm talking about when I say that. So that's definitely a good sign of what they're doing in the classroom. Another thing that we look at is retention, and we can match their retention levels across the United States. Chuck Iverson used to do that work. Now Jason does. It's, you know, crunching these numbers that maybe is not fun, but when you compute them and they kick out stuff, and knowing that we're in year 4 and we're already running above the national average, which then gets us to like this year when we had a roster where this fall we had 127 players on roster, which is a number that you really need to be at if you want to be successful, especially if you look at other successful teams. So they're pretty awesome. Now, it's a little bit of a daunting task with this being year 4. That means we had a lot of seniors. So kind of a neat deal to see 36 kids honored on senior day. And that was our last home game. We had a beautiful day. It was a highly competitive game, but another neat deal is we also had 36 recruits in that day to take in that game. So, you know, a lot of work has to go in by that staff to create those types of moments. But it's been really, really enjoyable and fun to watch. Just that staff, how well they execute, not just in terms of the football side of things where everyone sees, you know, but behind the scenes in regards to operations and what they do there is pretty impressive.
I always like to say that it's the biggest compliment to a coaching staff, not in wins, but retention rate, how many seniors you have graduating year in after year. 35 is just incredible. This coaching staff is just, I can't even put it into words how good of a job they've done in football. Let's go ahead and keep moving, though. We've got a bunch of fall sports to talk about, some winter sports and then spring sports, so we do got to keep it rolling. Let's go over to the volleyball program, who also had a really, really good season. Just missed out on the postseason this year, but man, that was close. They ended up with 12 wins on the season, 4 in conference, and a couple of really just right on the edge nail biters that they ended up volleying. But they also got wins over teams receiving votes in the top 25. Can you tell me about the volleyball program and what's going on there?
Yeah, this is really appreciative of the job Sophia's doing, and this was Sophia's first year as she was promoted up from being assistant coach. Coach Baylin elected to move back to Spain, which, you know, was definitely a hard deal in terms of just how great she was. But Sophia and Baylin have been working side by side now for a few years, and we didn't have any drop off. And I didn't anticipate that there would be one, but I do want to point out a few things with that. With volleyball is as tough as any sport that the GPAC offers, and it might be our toughest if you look.
Probably the toughest.
So the 12 wins, it's been 10 years since we've done that. And then the winning percentage of 12 and 16 put them at a 4.44 winning percentage. We haven't done that in 30 years. And we had a young team this year, a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. 4 wins in conference play. I know if you ask Coach, she's going to tell you there's another 4 more that we're on the cusp of having. And so all indicators is that that's headed in a good quality direction. And we've had some good people in to run that program, and they would tell you how hard and difficult it is. So this has definitely been enjoyable to watch. One thing I do want to point out, it's again behind the scenes, we put in a new floor this year, which is great, but it kind of affected the volleyball schedule a little bit. I know Sophia was looking at maybe some early home games or doing something on an early weekend, and then we shied away from it, just not knowing exactly when that floor is going to be done. And it probably cost them a few wins because they weren't able to find those games, which, they could have potentially been on the verge of having a winning record if they could have had one more weekend of volleyball with how well we've been outside of conference play. They had a 4-0 and a 3-1. So if they were to match that, then we're barking at, a 500 record. So great group of girls. They work really hard, leaders throughout the campus community. So it's fun to see that going in the right direction.
Coach, when it comes to other sports here, we'll go to cross country now. Your cross country program, you hired Coach Dan Fitzsimmons a couple years ago, got him from the University of South Dakota, and it seems like that is working really, really well. He was obviously very, very good over at USD, recruiting well here. You had a couple of guys at the national meet, and Joseph Cross and Logan Ferrari. Tell me about the cross country programs and indoor track and field as we go to that season.
Yeah, man, is it? We've had some good ones over the years. Marlon Brink, Randy Fisher, now Dan Fitzsimmons, and I knew Dan would be good, and now Dan gets an opportunity to have Seth Wiebelhaus work with him, and anyone that is familiar with Seth knows that he's great. But it's been fun. Last year, finishing 11th in the indoor national championships with having 2 national champions. I mean, that's incredible. We've been on the cusp. We had 4 runners up over the years, and we've had plenty in the top 8, but never that national champion. And then to have 2 of them. And this year, the men's team had a really good fall in cross country. They finished 4th at the cross country meet, which is our highest finish. Again, cross country, that's another thoroughbred of a sport that we have in the GPAC. So it was fun to see that finish. And then we had 2 athletes qualify for nationals. One's a senior, but on top of that, one was a freshman. So hopefully we have them around here for a few years. But definitely the fun to see the success and what Coach Fitzsimmons is creating there with Coach Wiebelhaus. Pretty awesome.
We'll keep it rolling with some fall sports here. Let's go to the soccer programs. We'll start it off on the men's side here. For the men's team, tough year. Oliver Thielemann had his guys roll, and they ended up with 4 wins this year. Came up just short of where they wanted to be, but they've got a good future.
Yeah, our August in soccer was really good. Our September was promising and good, and then early October hit, and for the men's team, we saw a lot of these one-score games that didn't go our way. And typically, if you can just be 500 in those games, you're going to be all right. And that would have really flipped the season for those guys. But a good bunch of kids. I do feel that with soccer and the GPAC has always been a quality sport. I think it might be getting a little bit better. And just a lot of international players there, and I know that has the potential to increase the level play. I'm not going to say it's anything or everything. You're going to be able to find good soccer players everywhere, right? Just all of our coaches got to go out and find good players wherever they can find them. But I feel overall that the bottom's getting better. And I do feel like there's a lot of parity when you start looking at scores, who's running at the top, who's in the middle, who's at the bottom. There's not much difference. So hopefully we can on the men's side, get out there and recruit, bring in some good players, have players come back, and I think we're on the cusp of, a couple years ago, they had their best season in school history with a 7-7-3 record, and I don't think we're far off from that. So,
and then go over to the women's side, program record for them in wins. Can you tell me about this program? They're young too.
Yes, yeah. 4 wins this year. The competitive level was better. So, hats off to those girls in regards to tying the school record for wins. And this last recruiting class was really good. Really good. Those girls made an immediate impact on the field, and really, I think if we could put together another recruiting class, and once you start getting that, obviously, it's in baseball, I always felt like it's a lot easier to recruit to a 30-10 team than a 10-30 team, and so I'm hoping that the success that we had this year, we can ride that a little bit and bring in a few more recruits, because same thing, you do have to have a little power in numbers. You do need to have a healthy roster size, and then you want talent within that. But it's fun, definitely fun to see them tie a school record this year. And I think that record, this same group of girls, this freshman class, I think they're going to go grab that record again here, and I think they can do it really soon.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into winter sports and basketball, let's talk about some sports that are both dual fall and spring, tennis and golf. Tell me about these programs.
Yeah, so golf program, Todd Rodig is in. He took over for Todd Schlemgen, and they had a pretty good fall, and that program's been pretty stable and been pretty competitive. I think in their meets they won a meet, and typically they were finished in the top 5 of meets, which is what we're kind of used to. Now we do have it where the Heath girl, who's been since a freshman, senior now, she's been our best golfer, and she'll be graduating here soon. So I know Todd's going to have his hands full trying to find another number 1 golfer. Those aren't always the easiest to come by, and then
especially not like her. She's good.
Yeah. And then you got Darren Cunningham, and he's got a full squad of guys, and I do think that we're going to see a leap there in the standings. I felt it was there last year, and then it just didn't happen on the final meet. But I think you'll see this year where they're going to start jumping up in the standings. So that's fun to watch. And then in regards to tennis, we're coming off our best season. The men finished 2nd, the women finished 4th. We've got 2 full squads there of really good players. I think we could have another fun year there. And then now it gets to where can you stabilize it, and then can we repeat it, and this be what we are every year with that program. So that's fun to see that getting that tennis program going. There's been a lot of time and effort and a lot of good hands that have came and tried to help with that. So it's fun to see now that it's having some success on the court.
With that, let's go to some winter sports here. We can talk about the basketball teams for a couple minutes before we turn the page over to spring. We'll start it off on the women's side since they play first in these doubleheaders. The women's team on the season, they just barely lost to the number 1 team in the nation. That was one of those where it was so weird when you take a look at the game. The final score isn't representative of how close it was, because they won almost every major statistical category. When we're talking rebounds, turnovers, some shooting percentages. But then Dort makes 23s and they win the game. But this team they look young, they look good, and they've got a bright future.
Yeah, and one thing in athletics that we struggle to have these days, and this goes at all levels, I don't care if you're going to go watch 6-year-old basketball or you're going to go watch professional, is patience. And we want to build something that's stable. We want to build something that's going to last. And we're in a situation again, women's athletics in the GPAC, women's basketball, it's a really, really tough environment in terms of how competitive it is. And this group's doing a good job. We've got some fighters in there, and we've been really competitive in all of our games this year. And we had a great start to the season, and now we're dealing with some of the injury bug issues, which does affect you throughout the roster. But with the job that Coach Bertram's doing, I don't feel like they're that far off. My work study in college was working all the home games, and then being the SID for many years. probably between me and Chuck and Rudy Gerstner, I don't know if anyone's been at more basketball games since 1995. So I just don't feel like they're that far off. Coach Bertram's done a really good job. So we're going to see. It's going to be sooner than later. That team's going to break through, and that's going to be fun to watch.
Let's turn to the men's side of things. They've got a winning record overall, 500 in conference at 3-3. Probably should be above, but just had a buzzer beater shot against them. It's the game we love. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes it gets hit on you. They got Morningside this upcoming Saturday. Tell me about the men's basketball team.
That's been fun to watch. It's fun to watch Colin Othier and Marty Gross work together.
Yeah.
So Marty's new this year. We were able to get him to come in last summer, but and Marty's Yankton lineage, was an all-state player here. And then he has been gone the last 40-plus years as a Division I assistant, and to get him to come home is pretty awesome. But what a lot of people don't know is that Colin and Marty coached together at Corpus Christi, and they lived in a 600-square-foot apartment together. And when you do that with someone, you get really good at understanding how they operate, and a lot of things get done without maybe necessarily being said, just because they become your counterpart. And so it's been really fun to watch that this year in terms of Marty and Colin getting to work together, and we're putting out a good product on the floor. A lot of talent on that team, and I think it's going to be a fun season. Like I said, the patience and turning that corner in a competitive conference, we're starting to see it this year.
I think the phrase that Coach Othier has used most often when he describes his relationship there, when they coached together down at Corpus, they worked 10 feet apart and they slept 20 feet apart. And that is just amazing. Yeah. Those two guys have a very good relationship. And the thing I love about them is their coaching styles and philosophies are a little different there. So they're able to work together really well. I've been saying it all show, and it's just true. You really got a great stable of coaches here.
Very, very fortunate. We do have some coaches that are in it for the right reasons and are doing a good job at understanding there's a holistic approach to coaching if you're going to do it right.
Let's go to spring sports here. We'll talk competitive cheer and dance for a moment. Their seasons are around the corner. You've got a two-time coach of the year in Joe Erickson, who obviously has connections to us here, so we love talking about him. Tell me about the cheer and dance programs and what's going to be going on for them.
Well, we do have Joe, and Joe's done a great job. To preface this, we have Joe, we have Jeff, but we also had Sam, and Sam led this, and Sam pitched for me. And not only did Sam pitch for me, and he was an all-conference pitcher, and he led the conference in the ERA, Sam also was our PA announcer. And he was I think he got that from the old man, right?
Yeah, probably.
And then with Sam, then all of a sudden Joe trickled in, right? And then Jeff trickled in. But Joe's doing a good job. One thing I really like to see with that is he's done a good job of recruiting in the numbers and getting kids involved and creating a really fun environment to be around. So I'm expecting great things. I just know that I think the best thing to put it would be recently Sister Ann Kessler passed on, and then we had some of the old guard came back, guys that were of my age or just right before me, and they took in a basketball game. And the cheerleaders were there, and the amount of flips and stunts that they're doing are pretty incredible. And one of them came to me and said, "Man, they're really awesome. Watching them do all this stuff, we're going to need to get you a gym with the higher ceiling. I'm afraid one of them's going to hit the rafters." So we do have some of our best athletes in our college or in that program. I mean, I don't know of what you do in terms of the acrobatics, the gymnastics ability of those girls. That's pretty impressive. So, Joe's doing a really good job.
I've said for a long time the best athletes in the world are gymnasts. Nobody can do what gymnasts do. Let's keep it rolling with spring sports. Let's go to shotgun sports and archery. Tell me about those programs and kind of what's going on.
Yeah, so archery, we've it's been a fun run for us here. 6th in the nation, then 6th in the nation, then last year 5th in the nation. A good bunch here this year. Actually, they just worked the last basketball game, so it was good to see those kids in an environment on campus. They do get to compete and work out in practice and train in one of the best facilities in the nation, but it's off campus. So, you don't get to see those kids that much. So definitely get to see them in the personalities and a lot of planning goes in that because they have to travel a little bit more to get in their competitions. It's either like they're at home or, they got to.
Or in Vegas.
Vegas, Chicago, and then we're going to be in East Lansing, Michigan for the Nationals. But yeah, just a fun group, a lot of headliners in there, but Lilith Jane, who's a graduate student, he's got the ability to say at one of these meets he beat a former Olympian, right? Like, that's, not many people get to say that. So I'm expecting good things. I just, as we get going forward with that program, just building roster numbers so we can fill out all the positions in terms of when they get to that final meet, the outdoor nationals. I think if you were going to rate it on per archer ability, we probably have been a national championship caliber team. We're just have been short on a few numbers and positions. So if we can get that roster filled, I think we'd be in a position that we could really make a run for that thing. I mean, we're not far off being 6th, 6th, and 5th over the last 3 years. So, but yeah, and I'm just appreciative of the NFAA and Bruce Cole and Brittany and all they provide for us. That's a really, really good situation for us to have.
Let's go baseball, softball. We'll start it off with the softball team this year. They're just a couple years away from winning the GPAC tournament or removed from winning the GPAC tournament. They're going to have a little bit of a new staff this year. Let's start with that. Tell me about these people.
Yeah, we got Cassandra Brown is the head coach this year. The last name Brown for Mount Marty enthusiasts, they might remember a pitcher that we had here named Miles Brown. Miles was a 4-year pitcher that just graduated last year and did a really good job for us. One of the better arms in the league over the last 4 years. Well, his sister had been coaching at Alabama and A&M, which is a Division I school in the SWAC conference, so HBCU school. And she had got out for one season and then was looking to get back in. And we were real fortunate to bring in a coach of that caliber. She was in 2000, her first year of coaching in 2018, she was the SWAC coach of the year. And then in 2023, she was named the Alabama A&M Athletic Department Coach of the Year. Extra Innings Softball, which is a publication that covers softball and really focuses, the main focus is on the NCAA Division I level, but they do cover a little bit of everything. They named her one of the top 10 young coaches in the nation in 2023. So we're real fortunate to have her here. And she's doing a really good job. That's a really good group. The roster's sitting at about 25 girls, which is a really comfortable roster. One thing's nice is we were able to retain a good portion of that team, and she was able to bring in some girls with the help of Kyle McLean, who was the interim coach this summer, to help out to make sure we kept the roster intact and were able to recruit as we were, trying to bring into a new coach. So they had a really good fall. There's a lot of talent on that team. I know Yankton's really supported our softball program here. And our softball programs definitely had an uptick, towards the end of Coach Fernandez's career. And then you watch Coach Bruckner take it over, and he did some really nice things. And then Coach Bryant did some really nice things. And so, it's been stable in regards to the expectations is that we're going to be in the conference tournament. We're going to make some noise. And like you said, just a few years off a season in which we made the national opening round tournament and won the GPAC and had a 30-plus win season. So a lot of talent on this team. I'm real excited to see what they can do, but definitely headed in a really positive direction.
Well, Coach, we went through every single sport at Mount Marty Athletics, and there's none left. Oh, wait, no, baseball. I see. The sport that you probably really wanted to talk most about since you were the coach there for so many years. This program obviously had a very, very good season last year. They've had good seasons the last couple of years. There's no reason to believe they're going to do anything but have a good season this year. Yeah, and hats off to Josh Tykrow. I mean, two of the things in athletics that make it really difficult if you're coaching, one would be trying to start success if they haven't had success, and that can be difficult, or if that success hasn't occurred in a while. Next thing, sometimes it's following success because you always got a shadow there hanging out, right?
and he's just done a good job of being himself, putting his own name on it, and giving it its own personalities. You're always going to have some similarities. So if you came to the park and you're like, well, Coach T did that, and now Andy and Jason are doing that, you're always going to have those. But in terms of that, you're always going to have a new little flair. And we do want craftsmanship, and for him to put his own stamp on the program, he's earned the right to do that. So it's been fun. His first year, he set a record. That team set a record for regular wins in a season. Not overall wins, but regular wins. But they got one away from overall wins. So, and then last year, another almost 30-win season, which that's what we've become accustomed to. So he's done a really good job, and got a really good bunch here. In terms of we were going back to like analytical things with that football program earlier in this conversation, and in terms of like GPA and retention rates and community service and what they're doing with the JV program, that entire approach of top to bottom of we're going to be good at everything we do. They definitely do that. And he's just growing as a leader. So really impressed with what he's doing. And then he's got a nice roster. That's one thing is at the end of my career, people were like, yeah, you guys are doing a good job. Well, a lot of that was a reflection of the recruiting that Coach Tykro was doing, because that was one of his major responsibilities. And he does a good job with that. I know it's early, so we can't talk about it, but in terms of direct names, but he's already has 9 in this recruiting class, and it's not Christmas yet, right?
Yeah.
And then I get to see the names, and I see the names, and I'm still aware of, there's some names that are always going to be good when you look at that last name.
Yep.
And another thing, there's some last names with connections, in the fact that they still believe in this place and they believe in him. That means a lot, in terms of the job that he's doing. But I think they're going to have a fun season. I just, the last few seasons have been pretty fun, and just got to get a bunch of kids there that can play baseball. So it should be should be fun to watch. So this spring, don't head out. I know, don't be afraid to head out and watch those teams when they're at home. I think baseball and softball are going to impress people.
Well, Coach, we did it. We went through every single kind of sport at Mount Marty, a little bit in depth, talking about every single one of them. You've got a very good group of coaches, and man, the recruits that are coming in, it just seem to get better year in and year out. Now these athletes are in finals week, so that's fun for them.
Yeah, that's fun for them. I think
it's not fun for them.
Yeah, I think it's a little stress for everyone. You just want to get through this week to breathe. But one thing I would like to say is I just want to thank you guys. Small college athletics, we've got a lot of good kids that can do a lot of great things, but the brand of Mount Marty Athletics is definitely heightened, and a lot of that is what you guys are doing for us in terms of the coverage. You guys have been providing radio coverage for some time now, but jumping into the web stream market, what you guys do there in terms of your daily production is amazing. And then all the behind-the-scenes work that Curt Dykstra has not only done for KYNT, but for Mount Marty, and then even the GPAC. I don't know if we would have the GPAC network necessarily if it wasn't out for Curt. The story of me being on a task force committee and Curt just coming by just to check in, and then Corey Wester's calling. It's a little bit just like an anxiety, slight frustration. We're not going to get this off the ground. I said, hold up, I got the right guy here. I'm going to stop talking. We're going to bring Curt in. And then Curt had a vision and idea that matched Corey, and we were able to execute. And now we're off and running with this GPAT network. And what we've noticed is that the viewership has gone up, which makes it a better environment for all the student athletes, just not at Mount Marty, but in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. So that's really neat to see. So I'm definitely appreciative of you guys and what you guys provide directly to Mount Marty.
Well, Coach Bernatow, we appreciate you. Thanks for giving us so many good games to call. That's all I got to say. It's a lot of fun having you in the booth. We like to have you in once a semester just to wrap everything up. So thanks for coming in, and we'll probably talk to you again at the end of spring.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do.
It's game time, Yankton, and just like championship teams, Lewis and Clark Ford delivers in the clutch. We have a great selection of brand new Fords and are ready to score big for you. Looking for a game-winning drive? We also have a lot full of pre-owned vehicles with a variety of makes and models all ready to suit up for you. See our complete roster at lewisandclarkford.com or stop by our playing field, 4th and Capitol, Yankton.
At Triple Time Rudy's, not only do you get top-notch fuel to keep you on the move, but it's a destination for delicious local treats. You'll find quality South Dakota products like Dimmick cheese and premium meats from the Kaler and Renner lockers. It's your community's pit stop for more than just fuel. Triple Time Rudy's supports schools and events and provides fuel discounts to Yankton's largest employers. For all your daily fill-ups and convenience needs, stop by Triple Time Rudy's at 17th and Broadway. Get ready to spice up those family gatherings this holiday season with Carbliss. With a variety of flavors like black cherry, margarita, cranberry, black raspberry, or mojito, there's a flavor for everyone. Carbliss isn't a malt beverage. It's mixed with premium vodka, rum, or tequila with no carbs or sugar. Embrace the joy. Savor the bliss. Open up some seriously delicious holiday moments, and cheers to endless fun and endless joy. Choose Carbliss, handcrafted premium cocktails this holiday season.
Small businesses are the backbone of our community. CoreTrust helps your business thrive with checking, online bill pay, small business loans, credit card processing, local approval and support for government grants and loans, investments to grow your hard-earned assets, and insurance to protect them. All from CoreTrust, the community bank that's right down the street and everywhere you want us to be. Visit CoreTrustBank.com today.
Member FDIC.
What is Agility Plus? It's the new Medicare supplement Plan G coverage from Avera Health Plans that gives you more.
More benefits at a lower cost.
More comprehensive coverage like physicals plus heart, vascular, and hearing screenings.
That's the Avera Health Plan's new Medicare supplement Agility Plus Plan G. Contact your local agent or request a quote online. AveraHealthPlans.com/Medicare. Network restrictions apply with select plans. A Plan G policy may not cover all of your medical expenses. Neither Avera Health Plans nor its agents are connected with Medicare or state or federal government.
Well, back here for the final time on the Lancer Locker. Big shout out to Curt, Dykstra, and Andy Bernatow for joining me today, the president of the Lancer Club, as well as the athletic director of the Mount Marty Lancers. We ran through every single sport, what's kind of going on, and an update for what's happening this spring. That'll do it for our Lancer Locker today. I got to get out quick because we're over time. But once again, we will be covering more basketball on Saturday. No Wednesday game this week in the GPAC. Both teams get a little bit of a rest, and that comes at a good time because it's finals week for these athletes. But we'll be back on Saturday. 2 p.m. is the start there. 2 p.m. is the start in Sioux City versus Morningside, the Rosen Verdorn Sports Center, one of the toughest places to play in the GPAC, and I am looking forward to that one. 2 p.m. We'll be live here at 1:15. That'll do it for the Lancer Locker today. My name is Tel Tanner. This has been KYNT's 102.1 FM AM 1450.